Why does meditation feel hard? Have you ever climbed the Mount Everest? Well, if you have, then think of something that you haven't ever done. But most people viewing this video probably haven't climbed the Mount Everest. If you've never climbed the Mount Everest and you've never even trained for it, and I were to ask you to tomorrow go climb it, you'd probably tell me it's so hard that it's next to impossible. Why? Because you haven't practiced it, you haven't trained for it. And while there are a number of contributing factors, different sort of apparent presenting issues, presenting issues are basically issues that seem like the real issue, okay? So there are a number of presenting issues or presenting reasons for why meditation is hard, but at the core of it all boils down to the same thing. Meditation feels hard because we haven't practiced it enough. And so the simple answer to how do you make it easy? Practice it. Now, a number of contributing factors that come into play when we are trying to sit down to meditate. One is that our mind has gotten used to things happening fast, instantaneous, instant food, instant. I want to watch something. I turned something on video on YouTube. In fact, even the answer to this question, right? This video itself, it's instant, right? And so the mind has gotten into this habit pattern of expecting as if, of course, everything will happen right away. And so now most people, when they want, the reason people choose to meditate usually is because there's something, there's either they're struggling with their emotions or mental peace or clarity, or there's some kind of mental, emotional, relational disturbance that's happening and we want to resolve it. And so you think, or somebody tells you that, okay, meditation will help you with your anxiety, with your stress. And so then you close your eyes and then you practice, and then in 2 minutes you say, it's not happening. It won't happen like that, right? So one of the big reasons is wanting things instantly, right away. The moment I think it should happen, it does not happen. So that's one reason. The other reason meditation seems hard for many of us is because now when you close your eyes, or even if you don't close your eyes, but when you sit down in quiet with no other external input coming into your mind, nobody talking, nothing to do, you start realizing that you're seeing things that your mind is showing you. And because you don't understand better yet, you start believing what your mind is showing you, and what your mind is showing you doesn't always seem very pretty, isn't always very pretty, isn't very palatable. Okay. And so that's the second reason people find it hard to meditate, because I don't want to see what my mind is showing me. At times, what my mind is showing me is my current truth. At times, what my mind is showing me has nothing to do with my truth or the external truth. It's just the mind's habit pattern for whatever rhyme and reason. So, one, I want things instantly. Second, I don't actually want to sit with myself and look deeper within. Third is because I'm in survival mode. If there's been a lot of like continual traumatic experiences in my life, and see, I'm very careful in choosing the word. I say traumatic experience and not traumatic event. Because traumatic event, maybe two people will look at an event and say, one will say this is traumatic, the other will say it is not traumatic. So an event by itself can still be traumatic or not, but traumatic experience, nobody else can question my experience. My experience is my experience. Whatever the event was, if it was traumatic for me, it was traumatic for me, right? And so if you've had a number of continual traumatic experiences in your life, then your mind is potentially at a place where it just doesn't feel safe. And when it is not feeling safe, it needs to do something, thinking that by doing something, it'll feel safe. But in meditation, you're doing nothing. And so the mind gets more scared, right? So that's a potential third reason why you might find it hard to meditate. But again, at the core of it all, remember where I started. These are all presenting issues. At the core of it all is that we haven't yet practiced enough. And so, since we haven't yet practiced enough, we can't just climb the Mount Everest. So, what do you do? Well, you practice. How do you practice? Understand what your presenting problem is. So, whether it is that you're wanting the result instantly, or there's actually just this survival response, survival reaction that's happening, or you're finding it difficult, hard to sit with yourself, and based on what you, and it could be some other reason as well, right? So, based on what you analyze is at the forefront of your current hardship with meditation, from there, then look for maybe you'll need to start with small doses of meditation, maybe just 1 minute time, focusing on the breath, maybe doing guided meditations. There are a number of guided meditations on this channel. Maybe working with somebody for some time, especially if you're in the category of not wanting to see the deeper truths or whatever the mind is holding for you. If you don't want to see that, or if it is really hard to see it, then maybe you'd want to work with somebody for a while. And then you'd come to a place where you're then able to see it for yourself. So, number one, we haven't practiced enough. Number two, there are reasons that we don't want to practice. Finding out that reason, and then based on that reason, working with a solution. Let me know if you have a specific question around this. Let me know if you have any other questions about meditation. There's also a playlist somewhere here and in the description below that talks about a number of meditation FAQs.